Hey everybody. So today I'm gonna give you the demonstration for my AI Uno uh, development. I didn't really think of the name for it. Uh, so AI Uno Rational Agent. There we go. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the demonstration. First, I'll give you guys the rundown of what all this means. So, in our main string, we're gonna have the AI say his name. His name is Dusty. He wants to get started right away. Uh, and this will be more or less what our scanner code will look like. So you have scanner source3 will equal new scanner system.in string the top deck on the next line, and if the top deck is the, say, wildcard, then it'll ask what color are you changing it to. It'll give you a prompt, which in this case will be color. If you say red, then it'll say, okay, let me see if I have any reds. If it does have any reds, then he will say, okay, I'll play the highest number red, your turn. If he doesn't, then he'll say, I'll draw a card. Right? And if he draws a card that's red, then he'll say, okay, I'll play this, your turn. If not, he says, okay, I'll skip my turn, and now it's your turn. So let's go ahead and run it. So he'll say, my name is Dusty, let's begin our game of Uno. Now that we have both drawn 7 cards, what is the top deck card? So we'll say wild card. Now that is case sensitive, so make sure that you don't put any accidental spaces or lower cases. What color you change it to? Let's say red. Let me see if I have any reds. We'll say yes. Okay, I shall play this highest number red. Your turn. And it will terminate after that, I believe. Because the point isn't that he'll continue the game. The point is that he understands the rules of the game. So we'll also go ahead and rerun it again. So what's the top deck of the card? We'll say wild card. What color you change it to? Let's say blue. Do I have any blues? No. I'll draw a card then. And if he has a card that is matching, then he'll put it down. So we'll say yes. He'll say, I'll play this. Now it's your turn. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, he's not saying specifically what color or number exactly. And that's because, let's say it's a +4. Make sure that plus and 4 are both capitalized, there is a space, and that you don't type the number, you write out the word for. So, hit enter. What color are you picking? Let's say red. Let me see if I could do something about that. So what he's saying here is he's saying, let me see if I also have a +4 to counter, because how it works in Uno is that if the top card ends up being a +4, the next person would have to draw 4 cards. The only way to get around this is to also already have a +4 in your hand, put it down, and then the other person will have to draw 4. Unless you're stacking, which is a home rule, which is what we're not doing. But if you were stacking, it would be a +8. But we're not doing that because that's a house rule, and house rules are too wide in variation and can have multiple applications per variation. So let's say he can do something about that. Ha, I also have a +4. Now you have to draw 4. And if I say no, he'll ask, you have one too? I'll say yes. Can he counter it? Let's say no. Well, he's going to be salty and say, well, I quit. I don't want to play this anymore. And it'll terminate. So that basically means that he doesn't like that we also had a +4 to his +4, and he rage quit, giving it a little bit of personality. Now let's go again. What's the top deck of the card? Let's say it is a red 7. Okay, my turn. Do I have a red card or something else that I can use? We will say yes. What kind of card is it? Let's say he has a blue 7. He'll say your turn, and then it will terminate. So that's basically how it will work, is that he needs to understand the rules, but he doesn't need to continue the game necessarily unless, of course, it was designed to do that. But that's not what the point is here. The point is just that he understands it, which is more important for the artificial intelligence than just playing a game. It's more important that he shows his competency in understanding the rules. Now, one of the best things with this is, let's say it's a +4. What color are you picking? Let's say blue. Let me see if I could do something about that. Yes. Ha, I also have a +4. Now you have to draw a 4. We're going to say no. You have one too? Yes. Can I counter it? Yes. Ha, double counter. Now you can't do anything about it. Yes, I can. And it terminated. Now the reason why it terminated is because I put a capital C. That was on me, not on the program itself. So let me do all that again. So it was the top deck +4. What color? What color did I say? We'll just say blue. Let me see if I could do something about that. Yes. Now you have to draw 4. Nope. You have one too. Yes. Can I counter it? Yes. No. Yes. I can. He will tell me I'm a liar, that there are only 4 + 4 cards, and because I tried to cheat, he's saying I disqualified and I lose. So what he's saying is correct, because when we started, a +4 was already on. If he was able to counter, you say yes. Now, you would also always say the color anyway after each one, but if you each have a color, then it doesn't really matter, because it's just going to end up being either the same or it'll be changed. So one way or another, it doesn't make a difference what color you pick, but it only really mattered for the first one, just because he wanted to show that he knew that a +4 also changes the color. So when he says that I'm a liar, 1 +4 has already been used. Can he counter it? Yes, so that's 2 +4s. He'll ask, do I have one too? I say yes, that's 3. Can he counter it? Yes, that's 4. Now you can't do anything about it. I'll say yes, I can. And he'll call me out. Why does he call me out? Because in Uno there are only 4 + 4 cards. All 4 have already been used. There's nothing I can do about it. I have to draw 4 cards. And if I refuse, then I lose. Because while maybe not cheating, I did try, well, no, I suppose that is cheating. Trying to get out of not drawing 4 cards, which is a disqualification. It makes me auto lose if I refuse to do it, because that's how Uno works. Let's see, what else? How about, what if the top card was a +2? Do I have something to counter that? Let's say he does. It came up in error. Why did it come up in error? Oh, I know why it came up in error. I mistyped. +2. Yes. And the reason why is because you're not only supposed to just say, yeah, you can counter it, you're supposed to specifically say which type of +2 that he can counter. So red +2. And the reason why is because +2s are not like +4s that you could just use at any time. They have specific colors, and there are 8 in total. So let's say, can I counter it? Yes. 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 And he'll say the same thing. So, reason why, there are 8 in total. Was the top deck of the card? It's a +2, so that's already 1. Can he counter it? Yeah, he used a red +2, which there are only 2 versions of the same color +2. So that's already 2 cards used. Can I counter it? Yes, so that's 3. Can he? Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I say yes again, he'll say I'm a liar, there aren't any more left. Disqualification, you lose. And he's correct because there's only 8 plus 2 cards. Now, let's say, what's another good example of, let's say, what happens if it is a blue 2? Do I have something that I can use to counter this? No. Then he'll say, okay, then I'll draw a card. Do I have something now? And why he's saying that is because if a card starts off for our base and he doesn't have anything in his hand, what happens in Uno is you draw 1 card. When you draw the single card, you can play it if it corresponds. So let's say, do I have something now? We'll say yes. He'll ask, what new kind of card is it, and what kind of card is it? Now I think that's a little bit of a typo error, but basically what you'll say is it's a blue, let's say 4. He'll say, okay, your turn. Now, not entirely sure why this repeated, but the point still kind of, it still got across. It just accidentally said the same thing twice, but that is correct. So let's see. What's another example? Well, I have an even better idea. What if I got out the specific cards itself? So, for example, what if I were to get out an actual Uno card set? So, I believe my Uno cards are around here somewhere. There they are, that's where I put them. Okay, so I'll bring out an Uno deck that has already been pre-shuffled. I just lost sight of where I placed it the night before. Sorry if you hear the crackling of the bag. That's to preserve the cards themselves. So let's say the top of the card is, well, I can't use that because as I stated in the presentation, I had to cut out the top deck for green and yellow because apologies, the main string couldn't handle it all, so I had to cut out 2. So there we go. Let's say, okay, I drew a card. It is a blue 3. Do I have a blue card? Well, let me draw 7 cards for each of us, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and now I'll draw his cards because he can't see his own cards. That's why he's asking. Otherwise, he won't be able to know if he can play anything because he doesn't have the actual cards themselves. So you do have to play a little bit for him, but it's still capable of knowing what he needs to do for the rules. Does he have something that he can play with the... Yes, he has a red 3. Oh, my apologies. I didn't read the question correctly. Let me attempt to do that again. So it was a blue 3. Do I have something? We'll say yes. What kind of card is it? It's a red 3. And he'll say it's your turn, because it would be my turn at that point. Now, of course, it doesn't ask for the user input to say what card they're putting down, and that is because that's not the point, because we're not playing a full set. This is just making sure that it knows the rules. So I'll go ahead and put all these cards at the bottom of the deck, and we'll draw new cards. I'll go ahead and reset this again. So top of the deck is a blue 9. Does he have something that he can use? Allow me to draw 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll draw him 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so he'll say, does he have something that he can use on the blue 9? Checking his hand, he does not, so you would say no. He'll draw a card. Can he do something now? Yes. What kind of card is it? He has a wild card. Now, usually what would happen after that is he would change the color. And afterwards, he would... Well, it would just basically be my turn. So that's why he's not saying what color he's changing it to. But he knows through asking me when I play it that it does change the color. But he's just not changing it. And it ends there for the second purpose that it's just making sure that it knows it can play it. So I'll go ahead and draw one last one. And I'll reset. And it is a red 8. Does he have something he can use? Draw 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, I drew all 7 on the first attempt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, does he have something he can use? Yes. What is it? He has a yellow 8. And he'll say, your turn. Now that's not the only thing he can use here. He also had a blue 8, he had a +4, he had a wild card, he had another yellow 8, he had 2, he had 2 wild cards. So there was plenty of options he could have had there, but because you can't put multiple cards down, unless it were a house rule, then he can't obviously do all of them all at once on the first turn. But that is the basic implications of how he would work in Uno. Allow me real quick to see if there are any other features that I implemented into him. +2, I believe we did. Yeah, we did go over that. There's also one for the different colors. So he has one for the blue, he has one for the yellow, he has one for the green. He obviously has the ones for the +4. And he has ones for the normal cards themselves. Oh, that's something. So what is the top deck of the card? Let's say it's a red skip. And he's sad. He's saying, oh, I don't get a turn. Okay, your turn again. And the reason why he's saying this is because a skip card, as implied, it skips your turn. So if somebody plays a skip card, the next person's turn would be skipped, and it goes to whoever goes after him. And in this case, in a 1v1, it would skip his turn and go straight to mine. Now, you might be wondering, why is it that he's the one who's always going first? How come I never go first? Well, that's because I'm putting down the top deck card. So that is counting as my turn. Now, how that would work in real life is you could still say the person who puts down the top deck can still go first, but that isn't exactly always going to be the case. And more often than not, it's usually random chance, so it doesn't really matter in any which way. It just depends on what people feel like. But for the sake and purpose of making sure he knows how it works, I usually just have him go first anyway, because he's already asking questions about what is it the card that I used or the card that I threw down. So he's going to go first regardless. There is also was the top deck? We'll say a blue reverse. Well, he'll say, I guess it was my turn anyways. And the reason why he says that is because the reverse card's main feature is if there were three people, if people were playing clockwise in a clockwise rotation, the reverse card would make them start playing counterclockwise. So if person one plays a card, person two plays a reverse card, person three doesn't get to play, and it goes back to person one, and then it would go to person three. But if person one decided to also play one, then it would go back to the normal rotation and it would continue to skip person three. So afterwards, he asks, "Do I have a blue card or something else that I can use?" Now he recognizes that it is a blue reverse, so he's asking if he has a blue card or if he has something else he can use, such as a +4 or a wild. So let's say I draw the first card and it is a. So I'll say yes, he does have something. He'll ask what kind of card it is, and I'll say it's a blue skip. He'll laugh at me, saying, "Ha, no turn for you, my turn again," because a skip skips the next person's turn. And that is basically it. That is my rational agent for learning how the rules work in Uno and my artificial intelligence project. Um, and as you can see, it took a long time to write all of this. Uh, so, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. And I'll catch you guys later.